Hi everyone. Today is bath day for my wheelchair, and I want to share this with you, a few keys that I've learned over the past few years, and generally just showing you the dirt and the sand and grit that has built up on my power wheelchair over the past 2 weeks. I want to start with the tools for the job. I use a toothbrush to clean my wheelchair. There is a few key lessons I've learned over the years. One is to be very gentle, or else you just scratch the plastic that makes up the wheelchair housing around the battery compartment. Another key lesson that I've learned is, at the same time as giving the wheelchair a bath, sweep all the living space that you have, so any remnant dust, grit, sand, and dirt comes off the wheelchair at the same time. You also need to have a plan for disposing of the water after the wheelchair's been washed. This is a look at it's just an ugly mess that came off the wheelchair after I was done cleaning it. So you need to have a spot for this water to go once it's done. This is the type of thing that a city sewer storm drain would collect. If you don't live in like a house, or maybe you're in an apartment, you need to find out what the appropriate venue is for disposing of the leftover water. I use a mixture of warm water and vinegar when cleaning my wheelchair off. I'm only doing it to get the toothbrush wet. The reason I say this is you don't want to drip water into the battery compartment and risk a short circuit. You don't want to drip water into the wire connections for your wheelchair motors. You also don't want to get water into where the joystick plugs into the wire that goes to your wheelchair's computer. So I'm only doing it to get it moist. The amount of sand and grit and dirt that had built up on my wheelchair during the past 2 weeks was excessive. So the first little bit of it was just brushing off the top layer onto the ground, working from the highest level and then working my way lower, and then sweeping that up and putting it into the dustpan for disposal. So the before photos, this is the right side. This is the side that has my auxiliary lighting control on it. You can see the dirt around the hubcap, and you'll also see the dirt around the motor and the spacer that makes up for my leg length. This is a look after I've got it washed off. I'm not going for perfection because I'm just going to go and get it dirty tonight. What I'm trying to do is get 98% of the dirt off the wheelchair. It'll get a thorough cleaning once we're back into summer weather. This is a look at the rear of the wheelchair. If I were you, I would start at the rear. This is the least dirty area of the wheelchair. It's not to say there's not dirt there, but it's the least, and so your water will last the longest. It's the same as washing your cutlery first in the kitchen sink and then doing the plates and the dishes. And then this is the look after it's been washed. What's not seen on this particular photo is the ledge, or a close-up shot of the dirt that built where that back housing piece is sort of fixed in place by. In any case, there was minimal dirt there. Finally, this is the left side. Again, I want you to see the same as the right. The hubcap is quite dirty in this. There's a lot of dirt around the motors, and then on top of the mud flaps, if I can call them that. And again, just some gentle strokes with the toothbrush, and this is what it turned into. I didn't take a picture of the front of the wheelchair. I do want to highlight that I did take the toothbrush and wipe under the footrest. It's another spot where there's a lot of mud and caked on thin sand has built up. It doesn't get as dirty as around the motors, but it is there. There are a few other things that you could consider at the same time as giving it a bath. I have a lithium grease that I use to lubricate the bearings. Some of my bearings are going to need to be replaced next week, so I'm not going to do it today, but I tend to do my wheelchair maintenance systematically. And by this, if the wheelchair needs attention, I'm going to give it the attention it needs so that it's able to serve me well. When you're washing the wheelchair, you should be checking that the treads on your motors, the treads on the wheels are still good. Specifically, the two big ones are the keys, but if the 4 little or the 2 little tires go bald, it does actually take more battery power to keep the wheelchair moving. So you do want to make sure these are changed regularly. In fact, you could easily change them yourself. There's only a few bolts that usually need to come undone to take the rubbers off. If you're at all intuitive with these things, it's something that you could pick up and do on your own without having to pay someone to do, provided that you have the use of your body. If you don't, then you can plan a service call. I know I'm getting a little bit off track with this, but I do want to highlight, with a service call, there's usually a minimum labor charge. Make sure you're getting the most for your money if you're doing a service labor call. What I mean is, let's say it takes 10 minutes to change a bearing. If they've not met their minimum time to perform maintenance, then I would get them to change both sides at once, even if only one side is presently worn out. I hate to see people being taken advantage of or paying a lot more for maintenance than what's necessary. So what I'm getting at is when it comes time to give your wheelchair a bath, you take a long, hard look at it and see if there's anything that stands out in your mind as needing maintenance. Do not put the toothbrush or whatever you use to clean your wheelchair around the joystick. There's always a live electricity where you recharge your wheelchair. You do not want to short your wheelchair. So you strictly want to stay in what's sort of the base of the wheelchair, not anything above the seat. This is a job you could have a friend do with you if you wanted to have a friend come over, maybe, chit chat for half an hour, and afterwards maybe have a coffee together or green tea or something. I'm going to suggest to you that if you take care of your wheelchair, it'll be there to take care of you when you need it and when you're relying on it. I hope you're having a good day today. Thanks for this time together. Bye for now.